Hey
Hi
guys. Welcome back to Real Black Love with Sims and Bongs. I hope you guys haven't been deprived so much because we've been away for some time. And that's because this lady right here has been writing her exams, which I believe have been, that process, the whole thing has been going well.
Yeah.
Right? And so now we're back.
We are back. I'm glad that I'm done with exams. Thank you guys for sending us some messages and the people who kept commenting in our absence.
Yep.
Much appreciated.
Yes, and the likes and the views. Thank you guys.
Yes. Thank you so much. In today's episode, we are bringing something different. We've done a similar thing, but this one is different. This is a show that we've been watching lately, and it's very interesting. We're going to leave the link down below so that if you're interested to check out the show, you should do that. And this show has sparked a lot of conversation. You know, it's called Blue Therapy. It's called Blue Therapy. Very, very tricky. You know, it's couples going to therapy and then they record the whole process. So we get to really see first-hand experience?
Yeah, first-hand experience, I guess.
Yeah. So we'll be reacting to the first episode of that. So yeah, we hope you do enjoy this video.
Sure, guys.
Sure.
Let's get into it. Okay.
They look great.
Oh, God, time.
Myself and my boyfriend have been going through a lot lately. This is the last leg for us. We're really hanging in our relationship. I've seen an opportunity for a social experiment, and I think that it's best we both come here and get some help.
You made me wanna melt.
I've been with my partner for 3 years now. Just like everyone else, we've had our ups and downs, you know, things happen. But coming to therapy with a camera for some social experiment, that's just, it's a red flag, to be fair. And now, like, she knows my perspective on this. I'd prefer we go to a church and we sit down with a pastor in a corner. But, you know, us getting to this extent where we're actually here for a social experiment, it's just, it doesn't make sense. I think it's gonna go south, like, I'm 90% sure, but at the end of the day, I'll just say, look, I told you so.
I'm not saying it's the best therapy, but I'm saying it's still therapy. You can still consider it as therapy because that person is counseling you.
Yeah.
So
I guess, but I just don't like how he's already saying that he can almost guarantee like 90% that it's gonna fail. I feel like you can't go into anything, even if it's your own idea. I can't go into it already feeling like it's gonna fail. Then that's gonna sort of determine my attitude towards that whole thing, that whole process. So I feel like he's not really open. Yes, he doesn't agree with it, but he's not really open to that idea.
I think he has, I agree, and I think he has a very negative perception about therapists. Therapists. And because why I say therapist is because when he goes to a pastor, I take that as therapy as well. But it's now conducted by a pastor.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a therapist, it's like he has this, you know, preconceived idea that it's not going to work, and it's about his inability to resolve his own issues.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he's taking it on a personal level that this person is not gonna, you know, it's a wrong method to, you know, to
go into something.
Hi, Denise. Come in, sit down. Hello, Paul. How is the traffic?
look at that beauty.
Terrible. Oh, we're here.
We made it.
My name's Denise, and I'm your therapist today. Have you ever been to therapy before?
Never. We've never been. I did go online. I read how important it is about, you know, having premarital therapy, counselling, and I do believe myself and Paul are in dire need of some help. I wouldn't say we've deteriorated to a point of no return, but at the end of the day, we're progressing in our relationship, and I'm not entirely happy.
Okay. So, Paul, thank you for joining us. Have you got any idea of what expectations you are looking to get out of this therapy session?
I have no idea. I'm curious to find out.
Okay, that's great. Well, it's great that you're here. So, shall we start?
So, of course, this isn't my first time on camera. I'm very comfortable in front of camera. I understand Paul isn't. I didn't bring him here to embarrass him, though. This is kind of like shock therapy. It might shock him into kind of seeing that we need help, that we've actually got problems within our relationship.
I'm going to ask Shoma to just start us off. What would you like to start off with? I love you. You do know that, right? And I feel as though we've got different views of life. So to me, Paul is very image. He puts too much emphasis on how people perceive us as a couple, how he's perceived as an individual and how I'm perceived as an individual. Currently in our relationship, we're doing a lot of patching instead of really like fixing the issues. Okay, Paul, do you feel the same way?
I'm literally blown away. Like, I haven't even heard this before. Do you want to give more context to what you're actually saying? Because I'm a tiny bit...
Okay. Paul, for example, has a lot of friends. He has affluent friends. He feels like he has to fit in, which he might fit in as friendship, but when it comes to finances, he doesn't necessarily fit in. So if we're looking at percentage-wise and when they go out and what they spend, they can afford it. We can't. But Paul will do it anyway. And then he'll spend the next week or two chasing the bag he's blown, which now leaves me in a deficit of love. So there's neglect going on in our household.
All right, so we literally just got here. Like, we haven't been here for 5 minutes. Choma's talking about finance to the bloody Denise, someone that we don't even know. Now, first of all, there is no man that's out there with multiple accounts, crypto accounts, high interest accounts, that's gonna sit down and show his girl his balance. So she doesn't even know the financial situation first.
Nah.
Is it, because I feel like she's not really going into detail about their finances. So I don't get why he's catching feelings because of that. Because it's not like she disclosed any information that is private. Like, there's nothing that she said. She just said that he chases the bag and leaves her feeling neglected. So I feel like his point, it's not really coming across to me as valid.
I think he's bruised by her saying that he's not on the same level as his friends, and therefore he has to work harder. Because when they go out and he decides to spend, he will need to make up that money. Unlike his friends who could probably blow it and will and still automatically make it, but they don't have to go in, grind and so on. Yeah. So I think the realization that maybe the girl is aware and now she's letting the therapist into this whole thing to say, I'm not on the same level as everybody else that I chill with, I think is what's bruising him right now.
So hang on, let me just let Paul speak regarding the image and the going out and chasing the bag, as Shoma just said.
You know what's interesting? I actually think she's right, but let me break it down for you. I'm happy and I'm humble enough to be the brokest man in a room full of millionaires. Do you know why?
Okay.
Do you know who would have the most to benefit in that type of situation?
You would.
Sorry. Like, this guy is addressing the money issue. He's addressing his own either insecurity or whatever you may call it.
His pride that is bruised. Yeah.
But he's not addressing what the problem is. Because the problem isn't that you can't afford. The problem is that you end up having to leave me deprived of love.
Yeah.
And he's now focused on what's not the problem. Because that is not really the problem.
Yeah, now he's trying to prove that I'm not broke. Yes, I'm not, I feel like that's besides the point. The point should be the reason why this girl came is not really the fact that you are chasing money. It ends there. She came here because you're chasing money and leaving me at a love deficit. Yes, at my expense. So yeah, he's missing the point.
So that's practically how I've been able to exponentially grow my income, basically.
He's taken the whole fake it till you make it to another extent, because at the end of the day, I'm not naive to know that you are treated how you're perceived. However, be yourself. With the whole spending above your means, should I say, yes, we can afford it. I'm not saying we can't, because he's the first person to speak about finances and we need to save and we need to do this and we need to do that. But as much as, I purchase nice things, Paul does a lot of the spending. And in the past, we've had situations where he's invested and there's been no returns. So I don't feel like I need to suffer at the expense of his investing and putting himself in positions to get deals when not all the time it works out. And we're together. Do you know what I mean? We're in a relationship. We're not business partners. So I'm suffering for nothing.
Okay. Do you feel that it's an equal situation?
She just said she's suffering for nothing. Okay. So am I nothing?
That's not what I said. It's like your comprehension. This is why we're here, because anytime I bring up at home, he dismisses it.
I feel like this guy.
You're not comprehending.
He's those. You know those people who, in an argument, they'll take one thing you said and disregard everything you said. This girl didn't say you're nothing. So I don't like that mindset. Like, I don't like people who argue like that, or who reason like that, or who want to take one thing and not look at the context as well. You know, where was I coming from when I was saying that? Don't take one thing and turn it to suit your own, narrative.
I agree. It's like exactly what she's saying. He has a comprehension problem. It's like he's never listening. He can hear the words and then he picks those words.
Comprehending what I'm saying.
Okay.
I've literally just explained it.
Yeah. Okay, look.
Out of everything I said, you got that bit. Like, Paul's, he takes what he wants to take, he hears what he wants to hear, and he sees what he wants to see.
I'm not dismissing it right now, right? We're having a conversation. I don't know you from anywhere, but you're here. Let's have the conversation, right? So when we first started dating, she was happy with, the drive, the ambition, me taking, calculated risk here and there and gaining rewards. She's the first person to come and, say, oh, congratulations, babe, let's celebrate together. But then I've actually kept the same energy, and now it seems like she doesn't really have the same energy. So who is the person that's falling off?
Okay, so in other words, I'm a hater.
Well,
because I still celebrate your wins.
No, that's true, but the only thing is, let me give you an example, right? So literally, I have access to a good number of private members clubs. This is through the clients of mine. I train high net worth individuals, celebrities, you name it. Now, with these membership clubs, obviously it's not everyone that's, invited. And I feel like that kind of affects trauma, whereas before, if we were going to like a normal type of, average, maybe not average Joe, but the usual, then I'll kind of be, oh babe, come along. But when I'm actually, grafting and chasing the bag, as she said, I don't really feel like she needs to be present, and she actually doesn't have an invite anyway, so.
Okay, that's not what I'm not upset that I'm unable to come to the events that you go to and to the gambling places, because it's gambling if you ask me. It's casino, isn't it? So the clubs you guys are going to and the money you're spending, some of it is gambling, all right? Because everything he likes to say is constructive. Clubbing is not constructive. It's not beneficial to our relationship or to him. Even places like that, he places too much emphasis on how they look at him. So you're out here doing the most, buying so many bottles, paying 10K for tables, and it doesn't make sense. And I'm at home being neglected. When he comes home, he goes back to work. So my point is, you're putting too much emphasis on the way they see you. Why is that? You're supposed to be impressing me, not them.
So the type of people that I deal with, they're on another level, to be fair. They're high net worth and they work really hard for themselves. Now, for me to be able to kind of be that act of service for them, you can imagine how hard I have to work. If they're calling you, you need to answer. If they're sending you a message, whether it's a text or WhatsApp, listen, you need to be on point. I'm able to give them that service.
But do you have to give them that service at your expense?
Yes. or at the expense of, because it might not even be his expense. He doesn't feel like when he comes back home to work, it's his expense, right?
Well, I mean, also financially, because now it also, like what they're talking about, they're also talking about finance. So does it have to be on his because there's this lady saying that he spends like 10 grand on booking tables and so on, and it's happening at their expense, and he has to go and, you know, hustle for the bag. And when he does that, it's like there are two things that are tied in. Is that he has this image that he has to maintain, which causes him to spend not just on himself to look good, but on impressing others. And he ends up not even impressing his own girlfriend. And when he does that, he ends up using money, which they should, or they would need. Not that they would need, but to some extent it's depriving them.
Yeah.
Hence, earlier on, she said there are investments that you did and no returns. And at the same time, while all of that is happening, it forces him to have less time to spend with her. You know, so it's all happening. It seems like to be all happening at his and their expense. You know, more on his expense or their expense.
I'm sensing a lot of selfishness as well, because I feel like what this lady is saying is that you make these financial investments. So what this lady is saying that is that you are making these financial investments and putting in money and splurging and spending to impress these people, and it doesn't always pay off. And I feel like he's making those decisions alone and for his own benefit, potential benefit that doesn't always materialize. And because of that, she feels like she's suffering for nothing. Because if I am part of your decisions, your money making decisions, then I understand. You know, you have my buy-in. If you go and spend $10,000 and whatever, we've agreed on that. So we both take the knock, but having agreed to it. So I feel like he's selfish in that he's the one who's making financial decisions, and when they go wrong, they end up affecting both of them financially and also in terms of like the relationship itself, because she's also saying that in terms of time, he's not giving her time. He comes back home late from these meetings, and the fact that he's dwelling on the fact that no, it's because you are not invited, I feel like that is so that's so childish. Let alone the fact that why are you okay with the fact that your woman is not invited? Yeah. For me, it doesn't.
Yeah, especially going to clubs and all.
Yeah, like
it's like, yo, something is about to brew here.
At the end of the day, I like his drive, and that's kind of why we're together. My point is, there needs to be a balance. I'm happy for you to grind. I'm happy for you to do all the things you do. But again, we're in a relationship. The problem with you is you think we're business partners. We're not. I need love as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got a business, I work, but I still feed you, I still love on you, but I don't get, it's not reciprocated.
Right, so hang on, Paul, do you feel that you're giving as good as you get in the love stakes?
Well, to be fair, I thought I did, but now I'm thinking to myself, like, does she trust, do you trust me?
What?
Yes or no?
I do trust you.
Okay. If you trust me and you trust my judgment and you know that between the both of us, we both got ourselves to the position where we are, which is a better position than we were in, why would you not continue to trust the process?
Because you've eradicated the whole love aspect of our relationship. I'm a woman, I'm not wood. Do you understand? Like, I've got a heart.
Now, this is the problem that I have with women, right? Like, for example, with Choma and I, when we first started, she knows I'm hardworking. I was doing X, Y, Z, what I had to do, okay? Everything was fine. She was happy, I've got a hardworking guy, okay, hug, kiss, okay, cool. Nowadays, when I'm coming back late, the same person's complaining, asking me, where am I coming from? And I'm thinking, what? Fair enough, I don't work overtime and I'm doing other things on a different level, but I'm the same person, so why would you question it?
But this woman is not saying, and that's what I appreciate, the fact that she's put it so clearly that I'm okay with you grinding. I don't have an issue with you grinding, but let it not be something that now eliminates the whole love thing. Because when we're in a relationship, it's important for you to support me and motivate me and push me. But let that not be all we are about. All we do is talk about business. All we do is talk about your deals. And you never really take time to say, are you fine? You know, talk to me as a person now, as your person, and not just someone who it's business. Like that, I don't get why he's not getting that. Like, and the whole, do you trust? Do you trust me? Like, I feel like,
No, it's crazy. It's crazy because he's focusing on the wrong things.
And he's choosing to, I feel like he's choosing to, I don't know if he's smart or what.
No, I think I think he values those things more. And that is why he chooses to speak about them more than those that he's actually talking about or speaking about. Because it's like, it's just an avenue to a certain,
Yeah.
Now he focuses on the avenue and not to the destination, to where, the avenue leads to. So if she mentions like your Nanta grinding, he now focuses on that and not really on what she was saying about grinding. That I actually appreciate that you are that person.
Yeah.
However, you have neglected the aspect of love and,
Me.
Yes, so he's choosing to focus on the wrong things, and I think it's primarily because he values those more than everything else,
What do they say when there's this saying, in your wealth, your heart is what?
Or your treasure is where your heart is.
That's true. Like he is reflecting that so clearly.
Yeah.
His heart is really in the money, in the making of the money. And that also makes me feel like, because usually people have things that motivate them. So you might be grinding because you want a better life for us. So you're going to make sure that in your process of grinding, you don't neglect me, and therefore you get all this money, but you've lost the most important thing.
Yeah.
He's not doing that. He's actually doing the contrary, to say, I'm not going to focus on you. I'll focus on what I want the most. And my question is, whether or not he gets it, is he okay with getting it without her being there? I feel like that.
I feel like that too.
Yeah.
Because first thing, when he answered or when he responded to what she had said, he was saying that, or he said that, are we not in a better place now? And not talking or speaking about their relationship, the quality of the relationship, but he was referring to the level that they've reached financially.
Yeah.
And so
Can I just ask, what's the last loving thing you did for
Denise?
Yeah, Denise.
Look, we're not going to play the whole turn each other against each other. When's the last time you bought flowers? Look, forget about all of that. Let's get down to what it is now. Just to briefly go over this, right? As far as I understand, you've been called, or employed rather, to basically help us in our relationship to get better, right?
Employed.
Okay. So, how do you think you're doing so far?
Okay,
Wow.
don't be rude.
It's a genuine question.
It's not even about
Is it
how
genuine
is she
question?
doing so far. It's about how
How
are you guys
doing? Yes.
This guy does not understand. You know why? I think, and I'm sorry guys that I'm gonna sound very controversial, or I'm gonna stir up something. Oftentimes with a lot of pastors, when you make money and you tithe real good, they become sort of like your yes man. They can tend, and I'm not saying all pastors, but I'm saying often and with most, they can tend to never address you and always sort of support your views and say, yeah, I see. And whenever they even want to maybe, for lack of a better word, reprimand, they would do it in a way that does not feel like you're
That
being
protects
reprimanded.
your emotions and so that they
Ego
don't
and
offend
everything,
you.
yes,
Yeah.
so So I feel like that's why he wanted that, the cushioning, feeling like his views will be, what can I say, considered in a way that he does not feel like he's being challenged about his ideas and his views.
Yeah.
And so, and here it's like therapy. It's not about that. It's about creating an environment, a space where you can do the soul searching.
Yeah.
Or you can find where the problem is and to also come up with solutions to that. It's not the therapist that comes up with that. They just create a conducive environment for that, for your mind, for the processing of your thoughts and everything, to to work out, to just harmonize in a way.
True. And people often, people who are like, I don't know if I should say small-minded, they will want to, instead of facing the situation for what it is and facing the facts that are on the table, they want to discredit whoever is trying to bring light into the situation. So that's what he's doing. Instead of facing what the woman is doing or is saying, she's choosing to discredit or shift the attention away from himself and now to the therapist to say, what do you think? Or having been paid to sort of make her feel discredited.
Okay, I can answer that, Shema, don't worry. The fact is that I'm here to enable you to see through the fog that may be there at the moment. I'm not here to give you an answer. I'm just helping you discover what's going on.
Okay. What's your success rate in terms of like couples that have been to your therapy sessions and have gone on to get married?
Well, I think you've already done your research.
I did research and I found out that a lot of people gave you good reviews. A lot of them have actually gone on to get married. A lot of them have resolved their situation. Be open-minded. I feel like people get results from you if they're open-minded.
Babe, she didn't answer the question. What's your success rate? I need percentages. I deal with figures.
I'm afraid I don't work in figures. I work in people. And when people come back, it's because they're seeing results. So as far as I'm concerned, things are working.
So if we came back to your session, that means it's working?
Well, you sign up for a certain number of sessions and then we discuss whether you need to do...
So there's more than one?
He's being very rude and I really don't understand why. She's just doing her job. I'm quite happy with the service we're getting so far, so I don't know why he needs to calm down a little bit because I'm getting irritated at this point. You're being very dismissive.
No.
At the end of the day, Paul is making me feel less than, okay? He's very judgmental with the whole image thing. So if I don't do what he does, then there's a problem. One thing I'm not going to continue to do is be with a man, not saying that I want to leave this relationship, but I can't continue to be in a relationship with someone who makes me feel less than or makes me feel like I'm in the wrong every single time.
Babe, okay. If we're both kind of in line in terms of our goals and our visions, then I would assume that we'd both basically be on the same page. Is that wrong, Denise?
No, it's good when couples are on the same page, but are you on the same page?
Are you? Ask her.
I'm asking both of you, do you think you're on the same page?
I feel as though we are on the same page with certain things, but again, as much as Paul says I like to nag, he has a lot of issues with things that I do.
This guy, honestly, I feel like it's crazy how he is, number one, to the therapist and to the whole, I mean, it's to the whole process. He's choosing to just not work on the issues. He's choosing to focus on things that I don't think are important. Like focusing on success rates. Give me figures so that you can do what with them.
Exactly.
Are you trying to invest in the whole, institute or whatever it is, that you're demanding for figures, and are you not hearing the person who's just next to you? Because that's where you need to focus. You don't have to focus so much on the therapist. The therapist is trying to, just like she was saying, just to, these fogs that are around, to sort of, I don't know what's the word, but to make sure that you guys don't remain in that space where it's foggy and all that, but you are in a space that is clearer, And the most important thing, the main person here is the person seated next to you, because she's saying something and you need to listen, and consider what she's saying and deal with it.
And she has tried so many times to bring it up through this conversation. Like, I feel neglected. I feel like you always try to put me down. I feel like you never listen to me. So he is choosing to disregard all of that and focus on how are we doing so far. Like, why are you focusing on the results if right now you are not putting work into the current process?
Even the session has not even ended. You're asking how are you doing so far?
Exactly. I feel like he's small-minded in so many ways.
I know he's problematic.
I also don't get how she's able to deal, because it looks like this is how he is. Like, I
think he's worse. No, I think he's worse. I think he was trying to behave, and little by little, he's showing off his true colors. So I think he's worse. And you wonder, how does a woman like her end up with a guy who can be that rude? Because she seems like the opposite. She seems like
level-headed.
My fate.
Give me a little bit of your background. What business are you in?
Yeah, answer the question, babe. So what does my business have to do with it? Just asking.
I just wondered, whether that was influencing the way that you deal with life. Sorry?
I'm a provider.
So his business is providing. When they say someone who is cocky, he's a real definition of that.
I think he feels attacked. Why would you want to be so, what's the word, guarded, when you don't feel attacked?
Attacked by who? The therapist?
By
or
the
both?
whole thing. By both. By the whole process. I think he realizes that he does not have control of how things have been panning out in the relationship. By that, I don't mean like he's not controlling or he's not the one leading. But I'm speaking to things have gotten out of hand. Things are not really where they should be. He realizes that, and he feels like I feel like he's putting too much on himself, not to allow himself to even introspect, but to want to first, protect that, himself, and that is why I think that's his response.
I feel like it's not necessary, and if with any other conversation, if I bring something up to you to say that this doesn't sit well with me, if your first reaction or the first mode you go into is like a defensive mode, we are never gonna reach a resolution, because you already think it's a personal attack rather than hearing what I'm saying. That it might not be intentional from your part. It might not even be as I'm saying it. Let's reach the conclusion, but let's talk about it. So if you're defensive, it's like whatever that I throw at you, instead of taking it and looking at it for what it is, you're already thinking of how do I defend it? How do I, stay in the right light of the situation?
And I get it, because sometimes, Lynn, I do sometimes feel like I need to defend myself. I need to. But at the same time, I think I do, at that moment, think it's not about that. It's not about defending yourself. You're not being attacked here. you're trying to understand each other. Because if you're gonna defend yourself, then you're not even gonna try to understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
You know, all you're gonna do is try to find things that you're gonna say, no, it's not like that. No, I didn't do that. So wherever you can sort of get your points, you know,
You like, yeah.
yeah, that's all, oh yeah, and it's not healthy, and it's not helping any of you when you're being like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not gonna be progressive. You know, nothing's gonna change from such.
I don't see how this is going to help our relationship in the long term. This is the problem that I have, right? Look, with this Denise lady, I just feel like she's just asking lots of intrusive questions that doesn't really relate to the situation at hand. She's asking me, what do I do? Like, I make money, that's what I do. Like, it's a silly question. What do you want from me? Do you understand? You're here for a certain purpose to help with the relationship. Do that. If you can't do that, then you're not of use for me. The whole point is she's here, right? And I got her here. We've been together for 3 years.
You got me here.
No, well, not here specifically, but I mean, you know, in terms of the journey, we've been together for a long time. I've managed to sustain.
From the get-go, I feel like this guy, like, you need to read between the lines with people. The choice of words he uses is very important. Saying that I got you here is not, I don't think it's a mistake. Based on all the things that he's been saying, like the words that he's been using, and how he's been, you know, coming across.
Like both the people that I deal with or the people that I associate. So it's like me, it's you. You understand? It's me and then it's you. That's what I agree with you.
Yeah.
I've managed to sustain our relationship financially, if that's the question you're asking.
No, I wasn't. I was
You
simply
see,
wondering.
this lady asked him, what is it that you do? Nothing about how you make, nothing about if you are the one who's sustaining the relationship financially, but he feels the importance and the need to bring it up. Why?
He feels attacked. He feels like, remember from the get-go, when she mentioned him spending and being in a company of friends who are at a higher level, who can afford to spend more than he can afford. For him, it has always been about money. So from the time this whole session started, it has been about him trying to prove that, no, I can. I can actually afford you. I can actually afford this lifestyle. I can, you know? So and that's where his focus is at, about affordability, about I can do it. And therefore, if you're gonna ask me, and probably he even thinks to some extent, to some level, that what he does isn't what's the word? Isn't the job, you know, that he's not even comfortable to say.
This is what I do. Yeah.
Because most times, if you put a business analyst against someone who does some general something, sitting in the same club, and if you guys were to ask each other, so what do? The person who does some general work would feel even lie,
offended for you asking them that. Yes.
Whereas a business analyst would be proud
analyst,
to say, yeah, I'm a doctor, you know, I'm a lawyer. So I think we need to read between the lines, you know, like that. But at the same time, we are not trying to really discredit this guy.
Yes.
But I think we are just trying to look at what's wrong with how he's taking the process, you know, and not allowing the process to just play by itself. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I literally work with high net worth individuals, influencers, celebrities, you name it. Provide them with basically nutrition as well as fitness. I also run an IT business, which you know, I work with potentially, really influencers, brands, more of the upscale, basically.
So you're a very busy man.
I am.
Even if there's nothing to do, Paul will tell his friends I've just done some. No, you haven't. Like, chill, relax. Like, you're not busy 24/7. Even the busiest person has time, Paul.
And do you do anything together? Any, you know, hobbies that you do together?
aside from on our laptops in the same room, maybe. When we started dating, we used to like the same music. He was more fun. Now I don't even know who's sitting next to me, to be honest.
And how do you feel?
I think that's BS.
It's BS.
Look, music. I'm a Burna Boy fan. You used to be, but now
I still like Burna Boy.
Wizkid. Like,
Oh God, this guy. Like, what's wrong with this guy? He doesn't get. It's not about a specific song. Oh, when I was say my name. No, it's not about that, bro. It's about the quality. You know, sharing that space.
He doesn't get it. He's just off. He doesn't get it.
Comprehension.
And that's what I was saying, that he pinpoints one thing that he wants to argue about. So I'm saying that we never do things together. And you like, no, I still listen to Burna. So you're going to dwell on the fact that I don't listen to Burna Boy anymore and you listen to Burna Boy, and therefore what I'm saying is not valid.
That doesn't make sense. If you like something, just stick to, you know.
First of all, you've changed, babe. You didn't like what you liked 5 years ago. I know that because of the food, simply the food that you eat. Okay, so people change. I still like Burna Boy, but I prefer Wizkid. It doesn't mean that it has to be your way. This is a problem with you. Like, if it's not your way, it's the highway.
No, this is the problem with you. You don't keep the same energy. Do you understand? When we first started dating, you know what type of energy I was on. Do you understand? You know the frequency that I was taking us to.
Okay, answer the question she asked us. What do we do together aside from work that is meaningful? Is that what you said?
Let me tell you what we do, right? Every 28 days, we have a couples review, right?
Oh,
so how the
hell.
couples review works is we basically, you know, go over our individual and collective plans, goals, targets, and we kind of, you know, make like a checkbox type of situation, and we mark stuff off, help each other out with whatever it is that we need help with, and it's worked basically in our relationship.
It hasn't worked.
First of all, this woman said something very important. He still didn't get it because he was not listening. We are not business partners. We are not business partners. So it's good to have these reviews, couple reviews, and checking, are you performing?
Checklist,
and,
yes.
you know,
Are you meeting your targets?
KPIs and, you know. But it's a good thing to have in the relationship, but it does not make up the entire relationship. In fact, it should be probably one of the least things, you know. It's important, but it's not as important as you guys connecting. And that's the whole thing that this woman has wants to work on. The connection. The fact that we can't even have time to enjoy the same music anymore. It's not about, to enjoy music.
Period.
Not necessarily the same, like to say Burna Boy or Wizkid. But to say we don't even have time to just say, oh, I love that song. And we like, you know, or it's not even about music per se. I think she's speaking to so many other things that they used to do, you know? Like maybe right now, how we are just chilling and watching Blue Therapy together.
Yeah.
She's talking about that, I would believe.
And if they don't do that, or they don't go back to doing that, spending time together, doing things that they both like together, he will always feel like they're not on the same frequency. They're not on the same frequency because he still expects this girl to be the girl she was 3 years ago. And she's not. She's changed, she's evolved. And the reason why he doesn't understand why this girl doesn't listen to the same music anymore is because they don't spend time together. So they've lost each other somewhere there. And it's because they don't, or he doesn't prioritize the relationship anymore. You understand? As people, we change, we evolve. And if I don't spend time with you, or I'm not genuinely interested in knowing what you are about now, I'll always feel like you've changed, or we are not on the same level or same frequency anymore because we don't check in with each other. So yeah.
Checking in. Very important.
Very important.
We're always on the same page because all Paul cares about is if our finances have grown, if our savings has grown. Aside from that, if we're still arguing, nothing changes. Do you understand? If it's the point that I'm cleaning up the whole damn house, as well as having a 9 to 5 and a business, nothing's changed. He doesn't have an input in personal stuff. It's just about work, 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 work. So if it's about working, then I understand, yeah, the review works.
So tell me, Paul, before you got involved with Shoma, how did you run your household?
Well, obviously, everything was self-sustainable, self-managed. However, at the end of the day, I think the question that you should be asking Choma is if she is getting into a relationship with a person like myself, I don't want to say bring it to the table, but...
What am I bringing to the table?
No, I'm not saying that you don't bring anything to the table. I'm saying you need to let her know that there's certain things that are expected when she's receiving, you know, a certain frequency.
Okay, so first of all, I contribute to the bills. I'm doing my own, I take care of myself. Of course, he buys me things, but I'm going out to shop for myself. I'm also taking care of the home and him. Yeah, he might do most of the finance, but I'm bringing a lot to your life, and without me, you will be in deficit, you'll be lacking some things, okay? Let's not get confused, I work, okay? Paul does not finance me completely. Does that make sense? Yes, he earns significantly more than I do, but he doesn't finance me, all right? So if you're talking about me becoming a housewife, clearly, because you're talking about finances and me bringing something to the table, what's wrong with being a housewife? Was that the plan we had when we first met?
It's a genuine question.
I don't want to be a housewife. There's nothing wrong with it, but I don't want to be a housewife. I have a choice. Does that make sense? If I wanted to be a housewife, I would have become a housewife. That's what you keep pushing for me to do. That's not what I want to do, babe.
Okay.
Okay?
Denise.
He used to clean his own house and change his sheets and cook for himself. We just moved in together 6 months ago, and all of a sudden that has now become my duty and mine alone. Bearing in mind, both of us are busy.
Now, with myself, I'm an earner. Do you understand? I will go out and I will come back and I'm bringing the bacon for real. Do you understand? If that's the case, and I'm able to provide for the both of us and kids in the future, from now, why would she stress herself being out, trying to earn the same thing that I already have? Sit down. Let's figure out something. I want to come home with a check and say, babe, how should we invest this?
And did you notice that things had changed once Shoma moved in?
Hey.
Now you are imposing your own ideas on your partner. And you are disregarding everything that she is about. The fact that she doesn't want to be a housewife. Have you spoken about it? Seems like you're working so hard to create something or to make something that she does not want. On top. And so I think it's a problem. Imagine I'm working towards saving for a house that you don't like.
Doesn't make sense.
Yes, you want a house, but it's not that one, you know.
And he's already working so hard to take care of them, while she's also working to take care of herself and the household and all of that. So if he wants her to stop working, how hard is he now gonna work? How much less time is he gonna spend at home, because now he's taking care of her entirely and the household entirely and their future kids? I don't get it, you know. So I feel like he should be appreciative of the fact that this girl is not just sitting there being pretty and saying that do all of this. She's actually someone who is helping him, but he doesn't see that because he wants control.
He wants control.
Full control.
And I feel like, for me, the most important thing is that he just imposing himself, imposing his own ideas, and not allowing for them to carve, you know, this kind of life that they both have agreed to and they want for themselves.
Yeah.
So, you can't be that selfish.
Yes, that's selfishness, to the core. That's so. Even the way he's saying it, man, he's like, he's not. How do I say it? Like, how he's like, sit down. How are you as an adult telling another adult what to do? You can't do that. You can't tell me what to do. You can suggest things. We can agree on things together, but you can't tell me what to do.
No. Let's not be toxic, babe. Look, this is what it is, right? How can I put this? If let's say last client finished by like 9:30, So, okay, whereabouts am I? The Bulgari, Knightsbridge, right? 10 minutes from home. So, you know, Choma works in a city, 20 minutes.
30 minutes.
20 minutes from home. So if she gets home, she finishes at 5 roughly, and you know she's home roughly, maybe not 5:30, you know, traffic or that, maybe 6, and I get home 9:30. Have you made a plan? Don't you think it's a bit practical to kind of consider that your partner may be coming home? But wait, this is for you, Denise. Do you think that, you know?
I can understand what you're saying, and there does seem to be a few hours to spare. However...
No, don't do it. Tell her that.
No, I'm not here to tell anyone, just so you understand. I'm here to listen.
You just agreed with what I said.
No, it's not a case of agree. I said I understand.
No, it's you.
No, but just the way therapy works is you two discuss things, and I'm an intermediary. So I don't...
But that's not what's happening. What's happening is, if she comes up with a point, you're quick to say, yeah, Paul, what do you think about it?
Only
and then when you clearly agree with me on something, you're not asking her the same question. Right. What's going on?
So can I just say,
it's not a competition.
The reason that I go to you with a question is because you're not being vocal. Shoma is being very vocal. You're being vocal now, but the reason I was bringing everything back to you was because you weren't being vocal. And it's great to hear that now you have got things to say, because that's why we're here, is it not?
What the hell? Like, are you trying to gang up on me on something? I'm paying for your service. You should serve it equally. Do you understand? Like, make it make sense.
I'm paying for your service.
It makes sense.
It's interesting.
I'm paying for your service. As though, because I'm paying, you don't have to bring up certain things.
Yeah.
You don't have to say...
You can't be against me,
yes.
basically. And that's the thing, she's not even being against him.
Not at all. Yeah, no, we're done.
So basically, in this first part, I think we got to see clearly how both of them, like in terms of character, they are. This girl, for me, is very understanding. I think when you know your person, it's like, you know, she's very understanding and trying to be reassuring to him as well, which I'm wondering, isn't that a problem? Like, throughout this whole thing, she's trying to say, not that I want to leave you, but I won't be with a guy like this. So the fact that she always has to insert that whole thing, it's like she knows how small-minded this guy is and how he can use anything she says to say, okay, if you're not happy, then bounce. Because that's his attitude towards this whole thing. So that, I'm sure that can be like quite tiring, a relationship like that, where you always have to filter what you're saying because you don't want to come across as someone who is not satisfied, even though you are not satisfied, you know.
I think it's toxic. To say, to use another word, I think it would be just an understatement. It's toxic. It's not good. It cannot. You can't remain healthy, you know, in such a relationship. Emotionally, you know, and otherwise, and your emotions can even affect your physical, you know. So there's a huge problem, and it's a problem of not listening. I think that's the biggest problem. Imagine if throughout our relationship, you just feel like you're not being heard, you're not being understood. It's like you feel helpless because the person who's supposed to be helping you and understanding you is not. And I don't think it's because they struggle to understand people, because he's out there
making business deals.
You know, exactly. So he can understand. He's working with high net worth people. Those people, we know that in most cases they can be very arrogant, you know, because they know that they can buy anything. You know, they can, if you're a problem, it's fine. I can get someone who's more expensive or less expensive, whatever the case is. But I can replace almost everyone and everything in my life because I have the money. So he does listen. He can understand. He does comprehend in that setup, you know. But it seems like in the relationship, he wants to be more controlling. He wants to have things his way, you know. And therefore he won't listen. He'll always try to, you know, turn things around in his favor, turn things around to say, okay, so now you're ganging up on me, or you are, you know, you're being negative, or you're being, you know, all of these things.
To add to that, what you're saying is very important, in that in his space where he's working and making these deals, I feel like he is not heard. He doesn't have as much control as he'd like to. Just like Choma said, that you are always trying to impress, you're always trying to kiss butt, you know. So he always has to run after these deals, run after these people, try to impress them, try to buy them this and that. So because he doesn't have that control there, when he's at home, then he can now feel important, yes, and feel powerful and feel like someone is chasing after him, because he's not getting that in his. And that's what people often do. Like where they feel like they are powerless in one area, they will become a mean boss, for instance, at work, because you feel like at home your wife doesn't listen or respect you, type of thing. Then at work you're going to be that terrible person. So that's unfortunately how he is, and it's led the relationship to being where it is now. And
you're bringing something very important, saying that because he's deprived of that control and
power,
you know, therefore he wants to superimpose it in the relationship. And that's true, because I've heard some people say that guys who are abusive in the relationship are trying to gain control that they've lost
somewhere else. Yeah. It's crazy. I think we can wrap this here for this episode. We might have a part 2, you know, for the next episode or the next 2 episodes. We'll just see how we go about it. If
you
you've
guys
watched
can tell us.
Yes, if you've watched this show, please comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. If you haven't, please watch it. You will now enjoy it.
Yeah.
You will enjoy it.
Yeah. And if you guys enjoyed this one, right, ours, let us know if you would like us to continue. Especially if you guys are also following the show.
Yeah.
Then we'll be able to sort of, you know, have this. And I wish we could also get your views, but we can actually by your comments.
Yes.
So please comment and tell us your views, and don't forget to go and watch the show.
Yes.
It's been good.
It's been great. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you watched up until the end, thank you. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. We'll leave them down here in the description box. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Like and subscribe. Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.